get ready for a quick quest guide for the Wanted quest, in which the main rewards for completing are access to the White Knight Armoury and Knight rankings, 5000 Slayer XP, and 1 quest point. You'll need to have completed the Recruitment Drive, the Lost Tribe, and the Priest in Peril quests before taking on this one, as well as the Enter the Abyss mini-quest. Additionally, you'll need to have at least 32 total quest points. While there are no skill requirements, know that having 15 combat is officially recommended to help with killing 2 Black Knights and a weakened Solus, who are all around level 30. Now let's talk items. Here you'll need 10k coins, or alternatively 1 lore rune, 1 enchanted gem, and 1 molten glass. Then you'll need 20 rune or pure essence, which you'll want to be noted at the quest start. You'll also want a light source and a tinderbox too, which you'll want to be banked at the quest start as well. Then when it comes to recommended items, you'll want a weapon to defeat the 3 enemies in this quest who are all around level 30, as well as a mix of defensive armor and weight reducing clothing, as there's quite a lot of running around involved during this quest. Additionally, to help with the running around, I'd suggest having 2 stamina potions as well. Also, to help with the combat involved and running through Taverley Dungeon, I'd also suggest having a few pieces of food, which is more important for lower leveled players. Bring some food with you at the quest start, but also have some more banked for later on. Now let's talk teleports. At the quest start, you'll simply want a fully charged Ring of Wealth and additionally 2 Varrock teleports. There's a lot more teleports that you'll need as well, though these can all be banked at the quest start. Also, I'll separate them into essential teleports and ones that you might need. Firstly, everyone will want to have 1 South Graveyard teleport, 1 Lumbridge teleport, 1 Falador teleport, a charged combat bracelet, and a charged Ring of Dueling. Then you'll also be sent to 3 random locations out of a possible 21, and so you'll ideally want a heap more teleports to cover where you might be sent. This includes 3 more South Graveyard teleports, both to cover the Canifus area and for getting to a fairy ring easily if you've completed a Fairy Tale Part 2. Note that if you've completed a Fairy Tale Part 2, then I'd also suggest bringing along a Draman staff. You'll also want a charged Amulet of Glory and a charged Necklace of Passage. On top of this, I'd suggest having 1 Mind Altar teleport, 3 Camelot teleports, and 3 Ardoon teleports. Although if you haven't completed the Plague City quest, then you can alternatively bring a charged Skills necklace or even just use your charged combat bracelet for this. If you've completed the Tears of Guthix quest, then having a games necklace is also helpful. Once again, keep in mind that you're going to want a lot of these teleports banked at the quest start. Now you can begin this quest in Falador at the southern entrance to Falador Park, whereby you'll find Certification sitting on a park bench. To start, talk to Sir Tiffy and firstly ask, "Do you have any jobs for me yet?" And then after a long chat, select yes to officially begin the Wanted quest, before continuing and choosing to ask about the Wanted quest, and then finally after more dialogue ask, "How will all that help?" And then after some more chatter, when more options appear, just click off from the chat. Following this, run a tad west and then head south into the White Knight's castle. Enter the castle through the western door and then climb up the staircase along the western wall, before then climbing up another staircase just to your east. Inside this room, locate Ceramic Vase and talk to him. After going through some chatter, say, "No, not right now," and then continue through the rest of the chat. Once it ends, use your Ring of Dueling to teleport to Falador Park, which brings you right next to Certification, or you can alternatively run back and retrace your steps there if you like. Talk to Sir Tiffy and immediately say, "Ask about the Wanted quest," and then continue through the rest of the chat. After it ends, once again run a tad west and then head south into the White Knight's castle. Enter the castle through the western door and then climb up the staircase along the western wall, before then climbing up another staircase just to your east. Now chat to Ceramic Vase once again, and after some chatter say, "Sure, I'll help you," before going through the rest of the chat. After it ends, use your charged Ring of Dueling to teleport to Falador Park next to Certification, or run back to him if you prefer. Then talk to Sir Tiffy and immediately say, "Ask about the Wanted quest," and then continue through a long chat. When chat options appear, select Buy One to purchase purchase a comm orb for 10k coins, or select have one made if you brought along the materials to make one, and afterwards select yes and then once again yes again to confirm before finishing off the chat. Comm orb obtained, right click it and select the contact option on it, which will put you in communication with Savant. Continue the chat and then select current assignment before going through a rather long chat with her until it ends. Now exit the park and run west for a while and slightly southwest, making your way to the crumbling wall obstacle on the western wall of Falador before climbing over it. Once you're over it, then run northwest to the dungeon sign on the minimap, and after reaching it, climb down the ladder into Tavali Dungeon. After you're inside, firstly run north for a while before following the path as it turns and leads you east and then southeast, and then travel directly south. Continue going south through the dungeon and you'll enter a room filled with animated axes that you'll simply want to run straight through before going a tad west and then further south past the scorpions and southwest past the hill giants before then entering into the Black Knight space. Just be careful if you're under 67 combat, as in this case the Black Knights will be aggressive. Once you're inside the base, go through the southern doorway and then head to the southwestern room whereby you'll find Lord Aquarius. Talk to Lord Aquarius and go through the chat with him, before Savant delivers you some intel at the end. When the chat finishes, locate a Black Knight nearby and then kill them, which shouldn't be all too difficult. After the Black Knight's defeated, Lord Aquarius will instantly chat with you. Importantly, spacebar or click to continue through this. Then afterwards, talk to Lord Aquarius once again and go through the chat with him, with Savant again chiming in at the end. When the chat finishes, it's time to move on. Firstly, use your Varrock teleport and then run east and head into Varrock East Bank. Ensure that you have 20 free inventory spaces, eating or depositing excess food if needed, and then use your rune or pure essence on one of the bankers and select yes to unnote it. Once you have it unnoted, exit the bank and then run south to the Altar of Chaos located in southeastern Varrock. Inside, you'll find the Mage of Zamorak. Talk to the mage and immediately select Solus Dellagar, and then continue through a long chat with the mage where he offers information in exchange for 20 rune or pure essence. When the chat finishes, talk to the Mage of Zamorak and again immediately select Solus Dellagar, and then continue through the chat to hand him the essence and get the info you need. When the chat then finishes, exit the building and then run north and head back into Varrock East Bank. And now it's time to bank and get everything you need to hunt down Solus. Here you'll want to keep your comm orb, stamina potions, charged ring of wealth, and Varrock teleports on you. You'll also want to withdraw your light source and tinderbox, as well as some food to defeat a Black Knight and additionally Solus later on, who is also about as strong as a Black Knight. Then when it comes to essential teleports, in addition to your one remaining Varrock teleport, you'll also want one Salve Graveyard teleport, one Lumbridge teleport, one Falador teleport, a charged combat bracelet, and a charged ring of dueling. But while everyone will need these, you'll also be sent to 3 random locations out of a possible 21, and so you'll want a heap more teleports to cover where you might be sent. For this, I'd suggest having another 3 Salve Graveyard teleports for 4 in total, both for covering the Canifus area and getting to any fairy ring easily if you've completed a Fairy Tale Part 2. Note that if you've completed a Fairy Tale Part 2, then you'll also want your Draman Staff. Additionally, you'll want a charged Amulet of Glory and a charged Necklace of Passage. On top of this, I'd suggest having 1 Mind Altar teleport, 3 Camelot teleports, and 3 Ardun teleports. Although if you haven't completed the Plague City quest, then you can alternatively bring a charged Skills Necklace or even just use your charged Combat Bracelet for this. If you've completed the Tears of Gothic's quest, then having a Games Necklace is also helpful. Once you're all geared up and ready, use your Salve Graveyard teleport and then run northeast into Canifus. As you approach, Savant will chat to you, and you'll want to continue through the chat with her until it finishes. If by chance you clicked off from the chat, then run away from Canifus and then back towards it, which should see it pop up again. After you've gone through the chat, then run further east into Canifus and nearby to the bank. Once you're in position, right-click and select Scan on your comm orb, which will spark a cutscene whereby you find Solus, but he immediately teleports away, before Savant then pulls an item from him. Also note that the many cutscenes to come are all pretty long and can't be spacebarred through. This will be your first time finding Solus out of the 7 times you'll need to find him. Each time you find him, Savant will pull an item from him, indicating where you'll be able to find him next. Where you'll find him the 2nd time, as well as the 4th and 6th time, are all random for everyone. However, the first find that we just did in Canifus, as well as the 3rd, 5th and 7th are all the same for everyone. To help me with the 2nd find, I got a right eye patch. However, you likely got something different. I'll pop up a table on screen now showing all of the objects you can receive, but note that your next step in this quest will very likely be different to mine. What you'll want to do is find the object you received on the table and then travel to the corresponding location. As I received the right eye patch, I had to travel to the Brimhaven pub, which I did by using an Amulet of Glory to teleport to Karumja and then running a long ways west to Brimhaven and into the pub. After you arrive at the location that your object points you to, which will likely be different to mine, then use your comm orb to scan until you find Solus. This will then trigger another long cutscene whereby Solus teleports you to Camelot and you then receive a blue cape from Savant. The blue cape is an object that everyone will receive at this point, and it directs you to the Champions Guild. Now use your combat bracelet to teleport to the Champions Guild before entering into it a tad south. Once you're inside, select to scan with the comm orb to find Solus again, triggering another cutscene which will eventually end with Savant pulling another object from him. This object will again be one that's random for everyone, and so I'll pop up a table on screen now showing all the objects you can receive. What you'll want to do is find the object that you received on the table and then travel to the corresponding location. And again, the object that you received will very likely be different to mine. As I received a Green Man's Ale, I had to travel to the Dragon Inn within Yanil, which I did by using a Ring of Dueling to teleport to Castle Wars before running a long ways east all the way into Yanil and into the inn. After arriving at the location your object points you to, which again will likely be different to mine, then use your comm orb to scan until you find Solus. Once you've found Solus this time, you'll get a cutscene whereby he hits you with a super high damage spell. Note that it'll deal damage based on your current health and it cannot kill you, although it'll leave you pretty close to death. You'll then be teleported to the White Knight's castle and you'll want to continue through the chat with Savant before being given a bone spear. Note that everyone will be handed the bone spear so we can do the next 5th step together. When the cutscene ends, use your Ring of Dueling to teleport to the Ferox Enclave and then run west and drink from the pool of refreshment to restore your health. Now ensure that you have your light source and tinderbox and then teleport to Lumbridge before running west into the kitchen on the ground floor of the castle, and then climbing down the ladder to the cellar. Then run to the hole in the wall along the eastern wall of the cellar and squeeze through it, and afterwards go a tad southeast and locate Khazgar. Then select either follow or mines on Khazgar to wind up at the mines. After arriving, select to scan with your comm orb to find a woman who turns out to be Solus, who then punches you and flees, with Savant then chatting with you and eventually retrieving another item from Solus. This object will again be one that's random for everyone, and so I'll pop up a table on screen now showing all of the objects you can receive. As per usual, you'll want to find the item you received on the table and then travel to the corresponding location. And again, yours will very likely be different to mine. As I received a toy horsey, I had to travel to the Draenor village market where Diango hangs out, which I did by using my Amulet of Glory to teleport to Draenor village before running west for a short ways. After arriving at the location your object points you to, which again will likely be different to mine, then use your comm orb to scan until you find Solus for the 6th time. This will start another cutscene, and at the end of it, Solus will summon a level 32 Black Knight that you'll need to defeat. Simply kill this Black Knight, and after you defeat it, Savant will retrieve the next item, which is 20 Noted Essence. This item will be the same for everyone, and so we can do this final step together. Now teleport to Varrock and then run southeast and head into Aubrey's rune shop. Ensure that you're ready for the final fight against Solus, who's pretty easy, and then select Teleport on Armoury. This instantly starts a cutscene whereby you and Savant corner Solus. Savant then summons an army and Solus kills them all, before you're left to face him in his weakened state. You'll simply want to attack and kill Solus. He has no official combat level but only 40 health, and he's honestly not too much harder than the Black Knights that you fought before, and all he'll do is bash you with his staff. After you defeat Solus, you'll obtain his hat and then wind up back in Armoury's rune shop. Following this, teleport to Falador and then run south to the White Knight's castle. Enter the castle through the western door and then climb up the staircase along the western wall, before then climbing up another staircase just to your east. Then simply talk to Ceramic Vase, and after a bit of chatter, bam! Quest complete. You'll be awarded access to the White Knight Armoury and Knight rankings, 5000 Slayer XP, and 1 quest point. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you in the next quest.